I'm Angela Scott. Welcome to Northern Exposure. I am here in Prescott, Arizona at our infamous Prescott Courthouse, which is soon to help kick off the 9th annual Prescott Summit Jazz Festival. And I just happen to have with me today the actual founder of the Prescott Annual Jazz Summit Festival, Mike Vax, as well as our featured performer, Toni Tennille.
Hi. Hi, Angela.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure.
What an amazing venue to kick off this wonderful event. Have you always started the event right here in our courthouse?
Yeah, we always do our new concert. And you know, last week we did a concert here at the Courthouse Square, the Tuesday night thing. And one of the things that I always say is, isn't this maybe the best venue in the United States to play?
Absolutely. Let's ask Toni. Toni, you have been around. You are quite a performer, and you have such a legacy and a resume, really.
I've been very fortunate.
So what's it like for you to sing here and perform here as opposed to maybe other venues that are more well-known around the world?
Oh, it's wonderful. Daryl and I have chosen to retire here to Prescott, and what I'm doing now is music for fun, and I'm singing for the Jazz Festival because I love big band, and I've done it for years, in addition to Captain and Tennille, to help Mike out, because all of the money that's made by the festival goes to education and scholarships for young jazz musicians, young musicians. It's very important.
It is. It really is. It's so important. I think so much of that is lost today in our society.
Yeah.
There's so much to be learned from generations ahead of us, from people that have actually already walked in the shoes ahead of us and actually created these amazing pieces that both of you have created. You're both performers.
Right.
So you actually have incorporated young musicians into this festival. Tell us about that.
There'll be 150 kids from all over Arizona up here. And not only do we open each concert with a youth band, but Saturday afternoon we have workshops all afternoon at Ruth Street Theater at Prescott High School. And the pros actually get on stage and work with the kids and show them how to get better, and they get to ask questions. It's something the kids never forget.
Okay, and I know we have Toni, of course, which is our featured performer here. But tell us about some of the other artists that are going to be playing as well.
Oh, boy. Well, Carl Saunders, one of the greatest trumpet players in the world. Scott Whitfield, one of the greatest trombone players in the world. Gary Hobbs on drums, who's in my Stan Kenton alumni band, has been for many years. It just goes on and on. There's Reggie Thomas from St. Louis.
Great pianist.
Oh, just wonderful. And then, of course, so it's really musicians from all over the country, but then all over Arizona and also Prescott.
And my conductor, Rusty Higgins, is coming to conduct my big band show and also play in all the other venues. He's brilliant.
It's truly astounding, and what an honor for these young musicians. I'm curious, has jazz changed throughout the years in terms of what the younger generation is wanting from jazz now? Are they changing it?
Well, one of the interesting things is more than any other type of music, jazz is always changing. You know, it used to be, if it felt like a swing, like Count Basie, it was jazz. Well, now you have Latin jazz, you have jazz rock, you have world beat, you have hip-hop. You have so many different kinds. Jazz started it all. All American popular music pretty much came from jazz. And then jazz takes it back in. So it's always evolving. The young people, we hope, like listening to what's gone before, and we really encourage that. In other words, young people have to know about Louis Armstrong.
Right.
They have to know about Benny Goodman.
Right.
They have to know about Ella Fitzgerald.
Sarah Vaughan, Carmen McRae.
Sarah Vaughan. Bessie Smith. They
absolutely.
Too many young people only go back to Miles Davis and John Coltrane, and they see. The funny thing is, traditional jazz is really jazz that was played at the turn of the century into the 20th century in New Orleans. Well, a lot of young people think traditional jazz is John Coltrane or Miles Davis from the 60s.
Yes.
So we get them to go back, and when they find out how jazz really got started, because jazz is really America's only true art form.
That's absolutely right.
It's the only art form invented in this country, and that's really important.
It certainly is, yes. And I know that you have written a lot of your own lyrics.
Yeah,
Where does that come into play for people that wanting to evolve and get into this business?
Oh, boy, it is so hard. I'll be honest with you. It is tough to get into now, a lot tougher than it was when Daryl and I were first starting. It's very hard. I always tell people that want to write, I say, write what you know, write from your heart, write honestly. I've had 2 #1 hits that I've written for Captain and Tennille, The Way I Want to Touch You and Do That to Me One More Time, which were both million sellers, and they were about Daryl, my husband. I wrote about how I felt about him. So write about what you know, or you can also write, I like to write other things, and of course Daryl and I have been very happy, so if I want to write a sad song, I have to imagine what it's like. But I can do that.
Life has
I
been
can do that.
a breeze, hasn't it?
Well, it's pretty good. It has its ups and downs.
Oh, I can imagine. I'm curious, if you had not developed yourself as such a legacy and such a musician, what would you have done with your life?
Wow, I don't know. I was working at North American Aviation, but I might have been still
Did
been
you
there.
fly?
No. I was one of those people. I was a methods analyst type person. Isn't that weird? How in the world did I ever do that? But I was always doing theater on the side and music on the side, and then finally I was able to make it.
Okay, and Mike, how about you? How did you get your start in this business?
Oh, boy. Well, as I was joking last week on Tanya and Lou's show, I got thrown into it because we had a band that rehearsed in my parents' house, and the guys in the band said, since we rehearsed at your parents' house, you're the leader, go out and find us work.
Oh, and that's the hardest part of the whole thing.
So at 14 years old, I was out finding work for a band, and I've been doing it ever since.
But I'm always curious about that, too. When you finally make it, as you have, Toni, as part of Captain and Tennille, when you finally make it, do you look back and say, part of making it for me was the process as opposed to reaching this pinnacle? I think so often we look and we say, oh, here they are, they did it. If they can do it, I can do it. But we don't know what it took to actually get to that pinnacle.
Oh, Mike and Daryl and I, we played the little clubs, we played all the other venues, we learned how to perform in front of an audience. I learned how to present a song without having to overdub. And so it's an emotional connection. That's what I always try.
And I love that you say it is an emotional connection.
Yes,
and I know that you prefer to do live performances as opposed to tape performances.
Yes, I do.
And actually, it shocks me because live performances, I feel like there's such an expectation. And I guess if you can let that go and let the idea of perfection go and say, if the emotion gets out there, then that's success. Right? That creates a good program.
A classic example of that is Maria Callas, the great opera singer, who her technique people would always would quibble with.
Find fault in.
But boy, when she got out there, she brought it, as we say. And that's what you need to do, I think.
Thank you so much. I am so excited about this event taking place this weekend, as I know you out there are as well. Where can people get information about this?
PrescottJazz.com. Very simple. PrescottJazz.com. For those of you in Prescott and the area, the Hacienda Inn and the Chamber of Commerce are our ticket outlets.
Okay.
But you can order tickets online, PrescottJazz.com, and find out about all the venues and who's playing.
Okay, and don't miss hearing the big band, me singing with it, because I never get to do it.
Right?
Saturday night. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Do you sing a cappella?
I will sing with just guitar.
Just guitar. Okay, I was hoping you'd take it as
big band and guitar.
Okay.
Oh, what do you want me to sing?
Now? I was hoping you did. Well, do that to me one more time.
Do that to me one more time. Once is never enough with a man like you. How's that?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Can you play a cappella?
That was gorgeous. And as she said earlier, she wrote that for her husband.
Yes, I did.
After their first kiss.
That's right.
That's beautiful. Thank you both so much.
Oh, it's our
what a great
pleasure.
event for the younger generation, for the established musicians. What a great event for our community. So make sure you take advantage of this out there. I'm Angela Scott, AZTV, with your Northern Exposure.
Northern Exposure is brought to you by Prescott Marriott Hotels.